Hello my friends and welcome back to the Brightworks and another top level match of Beyond All Reason. Today we will be looking at Nuclear Winter. For those of you that might not be familiar with this map, this is a really cool one. It's got this little reclaim puddle over here, this pile of corpses that you can eat up. Some nice metal indeed, as our red team leader spawning on the western side has pointed out here, going to be Ritzvit. Ritzvit going for a bot lab here as a Cortex commander on the northern side of the western team, going to be holding this little choke point pass up here, which is another reason why this map is so interesting. You sort of have this private lane to fight on right here. Excuse me. Had the hiccups all day today. Our blue team leader, who we started with today, is Snek von Pess, going to be spawning as a blue Armada commander. Love it when the, whoops, not that button. Love it when the Armada are in blue and the Cortex are in red. It just feels right, right? Tell me I'm not the only one that's crazy. Anyways, it's very well likely that I'm the only one that's crazy. Anyways, going up against Snek von Pess here is going to be Jean Rugen, who is our light pink commander today, as well as Abyss Watcher. Abyss Watcher are going to be, Abyss Watcher 07, I should say. Abyss Watcher 0 through 6, I guess, we're all busy, so they sent their 7th member. Going to be going up against Snek von Pess and Cooper Mouse. Now, as far as what I like to see on this map, there's a lot of interesting variability. Of course, up this hill right here, you're pretty much going to have to go bots. Vehicles, I mean, looks like Pindakas is going to try it, but vehicles are slow to get up this hill right here. It's just very difficult to field up. When you're actually fighting in the middle section right here, it's not so bad, but then, yeah, once you're dealing with the hills, it's very difficult to go anything but bots here. There's also a very high value metal extractor up here that's well worth getting, and so I'd love to see a transport handed out here from the air player to get some of these players with their commanders up to the front lines here. It'd be really nice to see maybe Pindakas move his commander with the transport, capture the metal extractor up here, lock down this row. This is great. Using the Resbot to eat up all of this metal right here is very, very powerful. Going to be giving John Rugen a nice little eco boost and taking it away from the blue team here. SS Din is just going to move forward. Apparently the Din Djarin's sailor brother. Anyways. The ticks do find the Resbot up here, but they don't find anything else, and it's pretty easy to deduce what must have happened. No. Oh no, sorry. Hodos. Hodos? Not sure exactly where that name comes from. It's very long. It's obviously a saying or a phrase or a shout. A yell of some sort. Eco being queued up in rows of 2, and that's what I love to see. These rows of 2 have very quickly become my favorite way of queuing up any sort of wind production. It's just very efficient. It doesn't use all too many resources all at one time. It's fairly resistant to bombing. I think all around it's just a very, very good way to go for. Especially if you know that your opponent is going to do bombing. You can do this in the other direction, so you have rows going in this sort of a direction, as I'm highlighting with the box here, north to south as opposed to east to west. That makes it even harder to bomb because, of course, the bombers are going to be coming in from this direction, and so they're going to want to bomb with the grain here as opposed to against it. Abyss Watcher lagging a little bit, unfortunate. Yeah, a little bit of a ping delay. I hear a battle. Oh, there it is, right beneath me. Right underneath my nose. Pindakas and SS Din are looking to duke it out. Pindakas is going to start up a light laser tower here, maybe thinking about finishing it. Yeah, I mean, if we want, we can just go for the laser tower fight, but yeah, it looks like we're going to disengage at some point here. Din with only 20, well, yeah, 20-ish health left remaining now. Ooh, Penguin did get splattered right there. Unfortunate, as the Blitz tank does crush right over it. SS Din with 13% left on that commander. Definitely going to be forced to pull the commander back. Yeah, I was going to say, these blitzes actually could get aggressive here. We need to see a cherry D-gun out of SS Din. Oh, he's looking for it. Yeah, Pendakas knows that he cannot get these blitzes D-gunned, otherwise it's going to be a nightmare. The blitzes do make it into the backline, though, and now they're starting to whittle down these shell shockers. It's very expensive to lose this early on. Yeah, this is actually shutting down a lot of the aggression here. Shuts down some of those Rocketeers as well. Very nicely done. Definitely well worth it for the cost of these 3 blitzes here. Forcing the blue player back, killing a whole bunch of their units here, and Pendakas now has the entire Northern Territory essentially all on their own. It's not to say that I wouldn't love to see some support, though. We do see some Banshees produced. Interesting. Okay, Hippoculter has gone for a little bit of a Banshee rush. Going to be bringing these Banshees to the front line. I wonder if we're going to try and snipe the commander. It is extremely low here, 19% on that commander. It's about 1% per shot from these Banshees, so certainly not going to be unfeasible that you shoot down the commander with the Banshees, but I guess that's not the plan, as these Banshees are just going to jump on top of the base here. Not sure if the lab is what we should go for. I mean, maybe. I think, yeah, moving on is probably the better idea here. Ooh, a little bit of anti-air was built over on this side. Not firing, though, for some reason. That was odd. Gonna try and snipe down whatever they can. The Banshees, that is. Energy converter will be the decision, the target of choice here. Okay. I think these Banshees probably could have killed this commander right here, and I think that might have been a better use of their time. Still, though, not the end of the world. Sniping a couple of those energy extractor or energy converters, rather, going to force the green player to leak a whole lot more energy. Banshee's still in the back line here and not dealt with. Yeah, going to pop even more energy converters. Okay. Accidentally kill a constructor there as well, so that's not bad. Whoa, frontline aggression there. Sorry, I missed that one. Commander does go down here for Jean Rugen, and that is going to be Sneck von Pest with a nice little advantage. That commander being off the front line means that he need not worry about being a little bit more aggressive with some of these units here. Repairing up the Janus is very nicely done. The more those can fire, the more value you're going to get out of them. So keeping them well topped up is going to be of the utmost importance. A little bit of a pause right there, but it looks like we are all re-rallied now. It looks like one APM Grandpa has taken over for the northern player up top, the dark green player up top. Banshee manages to chain react all the wind turbines back here. Oh, that's a massive hit. That's actually a really, really huge hit right there to the economy of the blue team, shutting down a whole lot of their energy production. You can see the red now at almost 2,000 energy, where the blue is lingering around 1.3. Very, very nicely done. These missile trucks also doing a great job of engaging with these Rocketeers here, slowly but surely whittling them down over time until eventually none stand in their way. That really is the magic of the missile truck, is just the fact that it can fire from so far out, and you effectively risk nothing contributing damage to the front line. Now, it's not a tremendous amount of damage, don't get me wrong, but it is, over time, a technically infinite amount of damage. Pentecost with a magnificent advantage up north here as well. Speaking of advantages. Trying to maintain a grasp over all of this area. A lot of blitzes up here, but again, these blitzers are going to be so slow moving up this hill right here that if Pentecost wants to, he can just keep the commander around. And keeping that commander in place is going to essentially dissuade any of those blitzes from pushing forward. Starts up a jammer. I mean, that's to shut down the shell shockers here, but all said and done, I don't think it's all that important. Just move your Januses in, get a shot or two off, pull them back, repair them up. Just keep doing that, and eventually your aggression is going to mount. He's building up an army, though. There is an army of medium tanks rolling in here. Sneck von Pest's commander was moved forward, and I have a feeling he was using that to eat up this corpse here. At least at the very least, he should be using it to eat up that corpse. And going to be dodging rockets, though. Ooh! Oh, so close. Oh, they're looking for the hit. Oh, right in the middle of that entire army, and that is going to be the blue commander going down. Huge, huge connection right there. That swings this engagement back into the favor of the red team, or at the very least swings it way more into their favor. Swings it back towards their favor. Maybe that puts it right in the middle here. Maybe. Lashers continuing to fire away, though. And, I mean, for what it's worth, they're doing a good job. They're tricky to jump on top of. You commit too far, and eventually the shell shockers are going to barrage you down. You don't answer them, and you're essentially just throwing away units here. Whoa. All right. Pentecost's commander does go down right there, wiping away all of the static defense, the constructors, the turrets, all of it. All goes down. SS Din now has his commander up here. There are Januses. Can the Januses connect enough times? They need to shoot one more volley in order to kill Din. Oh, I think they're going to get it. Din hasn't D-gunned them. Din, without the D-gun, is going to go down, scratching up Hodo's commander as well. Uh-oh. Suddenly, this is becoming a bloodbath. Commanders falling left and right here. We need some resbots to eat all this up. There was one here just a moment ago, but it looks like it has been destroyed. Definitely need to see some more resbots being brought up there to eat up those commander wreckages as quickly as possible. This one has been eaten up nicely here by the red team, so that is always good to see. Lashers, though, are going to shut down any further push right here. Reedspeed does have that very, very forward vehicle bay, but that's not too, that's nothing unstandard here. Getting that vehicle bay out and using it to pump out some of those vehicles on the front line, using the back line to just pump out res bots or maybe get some more eco. There is a T2 on the way, it would appear. Yeah, T2 constructor going to start building up some more T2 metal extractors, but for the time being, this is a very dynamic front. The Whistlers, well, in this case, the, the Whistlers. I'm getting pretty good at this, huh? You'd hope after 200 odd videos I'd be pretty good at saying the proper name of the unit. Doesn't always happen though. Only on the good days. Whistlers here helping the Shell Shockers fire away at their maximum range. That's of course always why they were included. It's one of the main reasons to include them in a composition is because the Shell Shocker is fairly short-sighted, while the Whistler can see out miles and miles and miles. Meaning that including the two of them together means that, yeah, you kind of get the best of both worlds there. Blitzes did manage to take down the majority of the power production here for the light pink player, Jean Rugen. The last blitz will fall, but already the damage has been done, and I think that's more than enough to shut down any reinforcements coming up on the line. Didn't see who managed to reclaim this. I don't see any resbots for either team. I'm gonna guess it was the red team because they had the resbots out there first, even though that was definitely controlled more by the blue. More Banshees, interesting. No air player for the blue team, and it's really starting to hurt now. These Banshees are actually getting a decent trade at this point. I mean, sure, set them to work back there. If they're getting kills, they're trading efficiently, and that's not usually the case, but it certainly is this time. Anti-air turrets of all sorts and shapes have been built over here, so I don't think that at this point these Banshees are going to last all too much longer, but hey, getting another metal extractor, getting some more wind turbines, that was still more than I was expecting. I really undersell Banshees a lot, but they're certainly coming out to play in this one, showing us exactly what they're possible, what is possible with those. Those were the last of the Banshees, however. Hippoculter using his commander, the metal contained therein, to go up to T2 here, funding that transition very rapidly as it looks like the wind speed is dying down, meaning that everybody's energy production is going to be quite low. Don't think anybody's got a fusion. Well, I eat my words. Sarvarius does have a fusion reactor, so at the very least, that's a nice little bit of energy coming in for the red team. And actually, it's a whopping amount of energy. 3.8 thousand, 4,000, climbing now as the wind speed is increasing, but you can see that they've got a nice little advantage over the blue team here because of that fusion reactor pulling in more and more energy over time. Certainly going to have a huge advantage, especially when the wind speed is very, very low. Reedspeed's commander is in a little bit of trouble here. Lashers are firing away at whatever they can. They've sort of hit that critical mass where they can start one-shotting units, but not quite. They're getting close to it, but they haven't quite hit it yet. Enough to deal with pawns, though. Certainly one of the bigger threats is what the pawns can do. Uh-oh. Aggression on this southern side, the southern hillside, has forced the commander backwards. Hodo's commander. Tons of medium tanks pushing through, though. Wow. Loads and loads of medium tanks. Where did these break through from? Oh, I think these came up the ramp. I think they went like this, came all the way down like this. That, or they just came in like this. Actually, they probably took that second path. Probably not this one. Judging by the fact that there's still a metal extractor here. Medium tanks taking out essentially the entire base here of Abyss Watcher, and that is very, very nice. Eventually they're cleaned up, but that is going to be at least one player down for the foreseeable future. Very low energy production here for Abyss Watcher. Would love to see the backline handing out some wind turbines to all these frontline players that are losing them. Always a good thing to keep in mind is that you probably have safe economy that they do not, and so it's probably worth, yeah, trying to, give handouts wherever you can. Resbot's trying desperately to patch something together here, but these bounders are only going to be able to band-aid a very open wound, so to speak. And eventually, I do believe Reedspeed is going to be overwhelmed. At this point, you have to kind of cut your losses, try and reclaim as much as you can off the front line, and just hope and pray that you're able to build some sort of a transition in the back line here. Going for T2 metal extractors, going for an advanced geothermal here. I'm actually surprised there's no geothermal yet. That's definitely a very cheap, very easy source of energy here. Neither player taking advantage of it, so I suppose it's about even in that sense. Again, this metal extractor maybe not noticed by many of these players over here, but it is very powerful and definitely well worth trying to capture here. A little bit of aggression would be tremendous as far as the counterattack is concerned. Both the hot pink player and the maroon player pushing forward right now would deal a tremendous amount of damage to the southern side of the blue team. They're just not quite aware of it. T2 gunships coming out now. Man, Hippoculter, real gunship addict, huh? Fair enough. I mean, the gunships are pretty awesome. I cannot deny. Yeah, at this point, Reed Sweet is in a lot of trouble. He's trying to reclaim whatever he can. It's probably the right idea. Gonna need T2 out, I think, in order to effectively deal with all this. Otherwise, just gonna be too much damage too efficiently. 4v1, yeah, I mean, count the colors, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 teams, or players, rather, of one team pushing into the base of Reed Sweet. For what it's worth, doing the best that they can. Baiting these trucks up the hill, not going to be a bad idea, because of course they're going to move so slowly. You might be able to get a decent enough engagement, but still very difficult. Tanks firing down at the mesas and getting a nice little trade-off now. Using that range advantage to whittle them down for free, and this is exactly what you're looking for. This is a very efficient trade. Janisses are going to get in the fight too, blasting down those tanks wherever and whenever they can. Not very often, but whenever it does happen, it's very powerful. Shell Shocker also included, but Shell Shocker are kind of pointless without some sort of armored support, right? You throw the Shell Shockers in there, they're just going to die eventually, so you have to be very careful about how many of those you produce. T2 units will come out. We do have a spy bot headed on up. The Aggravator is holding the line. A brave last stand and doing a decent job. I mean, they're getting a fair enough engagement against any of these trucks here that are trying desperately to push up this hill. You can see just how slow they are. It is miserable pushing up this hill with any of these vehicles. So slow here. EMP bomber, nicely done. EMP bomber comes across the face of that and is going to be able to shut down a very, very wide portion of those missile trucks. Now, the missile trucks, of course, shoot it out of the air, but not before. It is going to be long since paralyzed. Reed Sweet's commander moves in, starts degunning, gonna start disassembling anything that's not EMP'd here, trying to disintegrate any of these trucks, and for what it's worth, getting a miraculous degun right here, buying so much time by dismantling that entire army with the commander. The ground is scored all to hell because that commander just tore apart, what was that, 20 missile trucks, 15 missile trucks? Massive army from Cooper Mouse that just got annihilated. Very nicely done with the EMP bombers. Very, very nice to see those used in a strategic sense. Roughnecks are now out, and they're a little bit more impressive. I'm always a little bit more happy to see Roughnecks as opposed to the Banshees. They're just a little bit better. How many do we have in total? Is that 18 I saw? Yes, 18 Roughnecks. 18 Roughnecks is more than enough to clean up those T1 vehicles. Roughnecks roughly have the, no pun intended, roughly have the firepower of a pawn, more or less, but of course it comes from the air, meaning that they get that flanking bonus a lot easier. And also, you know, not all units can shoot upwards, so. Scout plane has been produced, the Oracle. Just gonna go for more Roughnecks. Interesting. We do have a queue here. Roughnecks, we are going into a T2 constructor and eventually into more EMP bombers. EMP bombers, very powerful, can absolutely change the tide of a battle. And right now, it looks like the tide of the battle is swinging back into the favor here of the red team, who has now wiped away the majority of the blue forces. All of that, of course, comes at the cost of the blue player being able to tech up to T2 on the front lines. Going to mean that those Jaguars are coming out eventually. Going to mean that those Bulls are going to hit the line eventually, and maybe even a couple of those Starlights, those mobile Tachyon platforms. Very, very powerful. Roughnecks looking for the angle. They could dive in here. There's a lot of missile trucks, but I think what would be better is just to kill this whole army right here. Yeah. I say go for it. So many missile trucks. Oh, well, yeah, I guess the Roughnecks are forced to engage here, otherwise they're just gonna take a bunch of hits for no reason. That being said, they make short work of those missile trucks right there. Nicely done. Gonna blast down any of the anti-air as well. Sure. Once the AA is gone, there's not really anything that can shut you down. Roughnecks do manage to snipe the base here of Cooper Mouse. Gonna get into the eco of the blue player as well. Very, very nicely done. Roughnecks really showing us their potential. Flak truck was built. We'll start firing away. Oh, especially if we clump them up, it's going to get a really nice trade. Looks like that will mostly be mitigated, but that flak truck did manage to save the vast majority of this here. Very, very close. Huge damage all over the place, but eventually the flak trucks from Ains is here? Ains? Maybe it's Ains. Probably Ains. Ains is here. Ains is here, as well as the purple player. 1 APM Grandpa. Missile trucks may not be the way indeed. Medium tanks giving them a smooch. Mwah. Right on the front lines. Saying, thank you very much. Happy to take you for your medal. They don't fight for love, they fight for medal. T2 is now out for Retweet, who has stabilized on the high ground here. Sharpshooters were included to blast away those ticks, should they become a problem. Making very short work of those 17 metal units. EMP bombers available as well. Would love to see another EMP connection on these. You're essentially throwing away the EMP bomber, but if it allows your teammates to jump on top of a big cluster of missile trucks like this, I mean, it's hard to get a more efficient trade than that. And there go the Janices. Massive connections from those Janus missiles, and that's going to be most of those lashers being taken down right there. Console will go down as well. Not bad. Beamer turrets have now been built over on this side. Janus is going to be a lot more impactful, though. Well, I mean, that being said, the Beamers are doing a great job. Beamers are relatively sturdy. They put out a high amount of DPS, and they have the range to contest some of these higher level T1 units. Definitely very powerful. Yeah, all right. Let's go, Beamer turrets. I'm always happy to showcase the Beamer turret. Didn't think that was what I was going to be doing today, but... well, damn. That was a lot of medium tanks that just got melted away by the combined fire of some Beamer turrets as well as some Januses here. All done, that push was held very, very nicely. Meanwhile, the middle of the map, things are looking dire. The forces have just overwhelmed the blue team. There's nothing left. Not enough T2 was able to be pumped out. We went for Bulls, but I think Jaguars might have been the better option here. A little bit of an audio cut right there. I wonder what that was. Anyways, I think that is the blue team going to be caved in by the forces of the hot pink player, the tan player, the other tan player. All of the red team here, bearing down on top of just right in the middle of the blue force. At the very least, Nick Von Pest's base has been ravaged. Ains is here, trying to move the commander forward to deg on some of this, but already the damage has been done. Jaguar is going to be very powerful, but more beats less just about every time. This is certainly no exception. Construction turrets coming up. That's quite nice. Going to reclaim a lot of this metal, I do believe. It's not going to matter, though. The medium tanks are too much to deal with. There's no EMP bombers here. There's no shurikens. There's no air force of essentially any kind. And that just means that there's no really efficient way to shut this down and allow for your team to take an efficient enough trade to get back in this fight. Ains is going to have to step up to the front line, but doesn't really have the infrastructure set up. Not right now, anyways. Commander is trying to hold the front line. Does manage to take down some of those units, but it's only a temporary solution. Resbot's eating up whatever they can over here. 6,500 metal there. Almost, well, yeah, 3,000 metal lying over here. Definitely very, very impactful. At this point, it's just an economy game. The red team, 350-ish metal per second. The blue at only about 150 metal per second. And not to mention all of the reclaim that the red team is going to be pulling in. Big Hound army being built, Arbiters being built. Seems like our red player, Retweet, is just having a field day going into whatever units could possibly be desired. But I think all said and done, the aggression in the middle of the map will wrap up this episode nicely. Spybot moving forward. Dangerous place for the Spybot to be. Dangerous for the enemy of the Spybot, that is. It's right where the Spybot wants to be, giving perfect vision of whatever's on this hill. Tremor does go down right there. That's a very expensive unit to lose. Wind turbines are going to get chain reacted right there. Built just too close together. Tremor also very inaccurately firing away here. There's a poison arrow that was built. Interesting. But I think that's going to be all she wrote. Mauser now dismantling the forces of Hodos. Maybe it's Hodas. Hodos. Gunships now moving into. Well, not many of them. EMP bombers were also trying to target something. I was a little unsure of exactly what was going on with those EMP bombers there, but either way, managing to put on a decent show, at least as they fell out of the sky very dramatically. Sharpshooters get cleaned up here by these poison arrows. They are very, very sturdy. As far as T2 tanks go, they are very extremely powerfully HP dense. They're strong, in other words. Look at these red spots go, though. These are the heroes, and you can see all that metal being overflowed by the red players going right into the economies of all of his teammates, and that just means more and more units continually cycling. And the red team has just hit that critical snowball where now there is nothing more that the blue team can muster against them. There's no unit efficient enough to clean this up, in other words. Even T3 might struggle. Bulls are now in the back line. The worst place for a bull to be, if it's not a friendly bull. Like a bull in an eco center. Never a fun sight to see. Mauser, of course, going to dismantle all of this as well. If you've got Mauser in your backline, you know that you've got a real problem. Love Hanny, the last player here, holding on against all odds. Going into the agitator, the desperation agitator. Unfortunately, he will not save you. Try as he might, the desperation agitator is only copium. There is no real substance behind the desperation agitator. Roughnecks trying to finish this game out here. Where's the final commander is the question. Oh, it looks like it isn't even a final. I mean, the final commander is up here, it looks like. Yeah. Last commander for the blue team is up there. Roughneck's going to shut down all this fusion reactor about to pop here. And I think that would be all she wrote for the blue team. Hey, if you enjoy these videos and you want more daily Beyond All Reason content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. That's always lovely. I get a little endorphin rush every single time that I get the notification that that happened. And I really sincerely do hope that you enjoyed. I will see you in the very next video. Peace out, folks.